And we are live. SoundMinds Sunday. Let's go, y'all. SoundMinds. It is Sunday, 7 p.m. So for the most part, we took a little hiatus. Um, my brother is um went through some hardship. Was going through some hardship last Sunday. We decided to call off just based off of what my brother Rashaman, as you see, he's not here, and of course he would be the one with the energetic intro and all that, you know what I mean, getting us live. But um, unfortunately, my brother was dealt with two hardships actually. Dealt with his nephew passing away last Friday, and just recently his mother, Unique Merritt, just passed away. So that is the reason why we took the gap. And, you know, for the most part, I would definitely not even put this out there if it wasn't for the fact that he gave me the green light. With all that being said, we are here. He is still engineering despite the hardship. The brother still got his presence on and he's still doing it. And that was on him because he was just like, nah, the guests we got coming on, man, and for the love of the family, for the love of the SoundMinds unit, he's still, you know, he's checking in from time to time. He's not going to be physically present, but his presence is still here. So before we even start, we want to take a moment of silence for his mother, beautiful woman. She gave birth to an amazing man. You know what I mean? And that's my brother. So with that being said, we're going to take a quick moment of silence before we even start this season 3, episode 3.
When you pass on from your body, where do you go? Do your soul fade away or continually glow? Making a way for the next generation to grow. Who can't hold you could still hold your legacy though. In our memory, hold those we say RIP to. Light still shining so bright that we do like stars in the sky. Even after leaving you was funny. In a way, they more alive than me and you. Inspire me to be on my grind before leaving too. It ain't coffee being brewed. The grind get the sleep off me. Before my body blows in the breeze too. How the leaves flew from trees that used to bring fruit. Drop a seed in the mind of these youth. Watching the weeds wash away while I stay down with my deep roots. Deliver you the same keys given to me, true. But whether you unlock the doors ain't up to me, choose. I wondered if you need me when I'm gone. Find a way to see me when I'm gone. I wondered if you keep singing my song. Need me when I'm gone. I wondered if you need me when I'm gone. And would you find a way to see me when I'm gone? I wondered if you keep singing that song. Need me when I'm, need me when I'm, need me when I'm. Love you. Thank you. And Rashama, we know your mother is proud of you, and she was proud to leave this plane having a son like you. You did everything you could for her while she was here.
1000%, y'all. We here though. Moment of silence is definitely needed. One thing I keep telling my brother and everybody, we going through a lot of pain, a lot of hurt. Don't shy away from letting your spirit sweat it out. The tears that you release is really your spirit letting it be known, like I'm taking in too much. Do not sit there and be too much of a man. Do not sit there and be too tough. Do not sit there and be too much of a powerhouse in which your spirit can't speak for you when it needs to speak out. Just like when you sweat when you're working out, that's your spirit sweating it out. You know what I mean? So the tears are nothing more than that. We're here, season 3, episode 3. We're gonna get into everything from last week in episode 2. Yeah, all that. So
we're gonna call this a Mercury retrograde episode, and it's only right that we have a brother who's known as a skeptical person Because like we was just joking before, people say we deal with racism. Well, I don't see color, and it's like if you don't see it, then you can't help us deconstruct it and deal with the racism, right? And we going through a Mercury retrograde, and for those who I got it from my brother Cover. He used to every year be like, "Yo, I just crashed the car, this, that, and I hurt," and he'd be like, "Mercury retrograde. I just lost this Mercury retrograde. I can't go to Mercury." And then finally, I was like, "What is this Mercury retrograde?" I looked it up. And lo and behold, this time of year, whatever magnets and sunshine, distance, and all that, things slow down. And I feel like it's beautiful to have this brother Gift on the call with us because he is a skeptical, self-professed enough to see problems, and that's really what it turns out to be. I'm a very Aries, crazy energy person. I like jumping on stages. People know I talk a lot, and so that's why I was having problems in these times of year of Mercury retrograde, right? Because when you try to rush ahead, when it's time to sit back and reflect, you're not supposed to do that at that time. There's a time to rush ahead. There's a time to sit back. So back to Gift, he's a skeptic enough to say, okay, I've seen this happen before. You think it's going to work this way. It's not going to work that way. I can't help you with it. But then he's a problem solver to the degree that when he sees the problem, he'll jump back and say, if you like help with it, let's sit back, reflect, plan, and then move forward, right? So it's only appropriate that in the midst of a lot of people who are watching this are going through this right now, whether you understand Mercury retrograde or not, a lot of y'all is reconnecting with old people, having problems with new people that you thought was working well with, having car issues, communication issues, maybe money slowing down. This is an episode for you to realize, don't take it personal, y'all. It's great to establish these problems because sometimes it's time to let go of doing too much, right?
Right. So, with all that being said, man, that was the intro to the intro. My brother Gift is Pay Us No Mind has been and if you don't know about it, and if you haven't read it, it is the Behold the Pale Horse. It is the unseen hand. It is the Bible for any artist who doesn't necessarily know a lot about a lot of the industry. And when for the most part, been following the brother for a good year and some change, probably 2 years. And when we thought about season 3, I was like, yo, it would behoove us not to have this man who gives so much gems and knowledge about what it is that we're doing, because a lot of times, and we're going to get into all of it, and this is just the intro, the proper intro, just based off of the fact that this man, when I put out the promotion, he is literally the guru of information, and definitely self-proclaimed, but will be claimed based off of everybody else, the artist advocate and the advocate for artists. So which means that if you have an issue, you have a question, this man right here and the YouTube channel Pay Us No Mind, it is a straight up the best anything that you could hear if you really want to get informed. Brother, we are so delighted, definitely appreciative of your presence. And as we said, Gift got to meet Rashaman, and Rashaman let him know, like, yo, he was so excited about this. So he's still listening and all that. My brother, please step up to the stage. Welcome to SoundMinds. Introduce yourself, my brother.
SoundMinds, welcome to Gift.
I think you're muted right now.
He's muted.
You got
Unmute yourself, bro. See, I said it's the Mercury retrograde episode.
On the side, there you go.
All right.
Good.
Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? All right, cool. All right. Yeah, so to rewind it, this is Gift. What's happening, good people, man? I represent Pay Us No Mind, man. And it's a music channel, a channel about the music business and different aspects of the music business and different things that artists need to know regarding the business, and sometimes creative aspects too, so it's more so just like a channel for artists, man, because I am an artist as well, really kind of, right, because I'm not active no more, but I was an artist for a very long time, right, running around, and I've been in the circuits, man, and just like and I know it from the hard aspect of it, right? Going to the open mics and standing online for mad long and the talent showcases and all of that type of stuff, man. You know, so it's like, yeah, man, I know what it feels like to kind of be in that position, man, and to kind of be struggling to figure your way out. And that's what kind of inspired Pay Us No Mind in the first place, man. Just being able to provide information to artists that were like me, right? Because at that time, when I used to look up information about the music business, they would just be talking about bands, right? Like, here's what you could do if you a band. Bands, right? And it's like, but I'm not a band though. You know what I'm saying? I rap. Like, where's the information for me, right? So it got to a point where I was like, all right, cool. I gotta research and study and kind of like be the outlet to provide that information for the people like me, man. And that's what kind of like gave birth to Pay Us No Mind.
That's crazy, man. Because that was, and the funny thing is, you know, of course, man, in a episode like this, man, and it's not necessarily an interview, right? But an episode like this, you definitely want to kind of like get the proper questions, man, because you never know like who's listening and who needs this type of stuff. And that's one of the questions I was going to ask you was, when did you start deciding like, nah, I need to study this. And why did you start studying it to that point where you became somewhat of a, you know, the kind of like the Jedi to release that information to others?
I mean, I think I'm a bit obsessive, right? Where once I grab a hold of something, I can't let it go. And I mean, some of it too, man, is just the way you are. It's just personality wise, you know? So even when I used to rap and stuff, you know, it's like my teacher, my music teacher in high school, he sat me down one day and he was just like, oh, you trying to rap? Y'all trying to like shop demos and stuff? He's like, yo, man, you know, you don't want to be signed. You want to own, right? You want to own your stuff. And we were like 14. So that just kind of planted the seed, right? And then when we go into the studio and stuff, the guy that was managing all of us, you know, he knew that I kind of had that head on. So he bought, like, he had music books and he would just give me those books, right? So I'm like 14, 15, and he would just give me these music books, everything you need to know about the music business, stuff like that. And I would be reading those. And then we would go to the studio. And while everybody else was running around, because, you know, we were underage, but we were still drinking, smoking, all that other stuff in the studio, you know, everybody's running around doing that. I'll be sitting down with the engineer, picking his brain, stuff like that, man, you know. And then it got to a point where I talked to my pops about music, and he'd be like, yo, you sound more like a manager than you do an artist, you know. And I was just like, it was just a natural way that I think, you know. I think analytically, I analyze stuff. I always, you know, kind of like, I like information, you know, first and foremost. I like information, you know. So that just led me into a bunch of different things. And then also I'm impatient. So it's like when it came to things like having your own website and stuff like that, which was like important in the late 90s going into the 2000s, you know, you had to have your own website and stuff like that. So I had people build a website for me, but they drag their feet, they take too long, you know. So one thing, you know, my brother-in-law did was he knew he was too busy to kind of like fully finish my website. So he installed something called, was it Frameworks or something like that on my computer. And he was like, well, if you want to teach it to yourself, go ahead. And I taught it to myself. And then I taught myself other things, right? Like, because that technology gets phased out and other technology comes in. So I teach myself Framework, and then you move into Dreamweaver, and then you move into CSS and all of this stuff, you know, HTML, learn how to build websites, learn how to do content management systems, all of that type of stuff. But then you got a website up, but the website don't bring traffic to itself. You got to get people to the website. So that leads me to learning about marketing, because now I got to learn, how am I going to get people to my website? So that brings me into learning how to do digital advertising and stuff like that. And I don't half-ass anything. So once I'm in with something, I'm all in. So once I start doing digital advertising, it's like, okay, cool. Well, you got advertising on YouTube. I'm gonna go get certified in it. All right, let me go get certified in it. Let me research this, and, you know, and through the certification, I understand and I learned, yo, you know what? They kind of like hustling people to some extent, because they make their money from you exposing your music to more people effectively, right? They need impressions. The more people your ad has to show to, the more money that they make. But your ad don't need to show to a bunch of people if it's effective, right? Because if you got like a high conversion rate, like 70%, 80%, then you can make money with just a small group of people. So it's like, if you follow what they teach, you'll be spending a lot of money, because they'll say things like, you can't really understand what goes on until you spend $3,000 or something like that. And I can figure out what goes on with $100 budget, $50. You know what I'm saying? So looking at that, understanding that, and then kind of like making my own way through those things, man, you know, led me to the information about marketing and advertising and stuff like that. And then, you know, just analyzing the digital distributors and what they offer, and, you know, just from different things that I've seen from other artists and stuff like that, watching them, you know, just gave me like a wealth of information, and I just felt like passing it on, you know. So I turn on the camera one day and I start talking, and then people say, well, makes sense. They start watching, you know, I keep making videos, you know, and then one day somebody called me and they say, yo, man, you sound like you know a lot. I need somebody to market for me, and I want it to be you. And I'm like, yo, I've never even done this before. You know, but they're like, hey, I trust you and I believe you can figure it out, you know? So we say, okay, cool. We come to an agreement. I start marketing for them and they go great, you know? And then other people call me, I do it for them, and then they tell other people, and then those people come, and, you know, next thing you know, you got a business, you know? So that's how everything is kind of like progressed for me with this whole thing, man.
That's dope, man. And you know, for the most part, man, I think what it comes down to is, and it's kind of funny. So the samurai is known for his swords play. You know what I mean? Or the basketball player is known to play ball. The football player is known to play football. If you're a boxer, you're a boxer. Kickboxing is different. MMA. So I say that to say, as a MC, when you're a writer, when you're a spitter, well, those who take their craft seriously, your whole focus is on the pen. You like, yo, I just want to get in the studio. I just want to spit these balls out. I want to, you know what I mean? So a lot of times, because of that, that kind of like that funneled thought of expertise, you don't think about all the other things. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times that's where you get caught up, because your whole thing is, nah, I know I'm nasty with my pen. I just want my pen to speak for me. And most times that's where people get caught, because they just want to be heard. So it's just like when you have somebody working on a project or somebody else doing something, they'll be like, yo, need you on the project. And you like, yo, let's go. But then all of a sudden you see or find out, you know, for the most part, they're getting paid off of your art and your artistry. And then you may not be getting paid because you don't know the surroundings and the backgrounds of all that. So can you speak on that? And can you speak on what would you advise an artist who knows they're nasty and they got their expertise, but at the same time, they should be getting paid as well for what they do?
Yeah,
let me just highlight you real quick for those who are checking in and out through the calls. Oh, shout out to everybody in the chat. Also, please, if you are here, make sure you post to IG. Make sure you let people know that we are live on YouTube right now. SoundMindsHipHop.com goes directly to our live on YouTube right now, and we are live on Facebook. We would love to, while Shaman is standing by, we would love to be posting your comments and questions too. This is like a $3,000 per session dude who you could get comments and questions for, and we would love if you come up with something better than the questions we're asking. We would love to, nothing more than to post your comments live right here on the screen. All right. But I want to highlight some things, my brother. You mentioned that you actually had a teacher reaching out and saying, "Oh, while we doing this history and this math and this English, I see something you're passionate about. Let me give you some advice. Let me challenge you more on this." And that's so important. We have shout out to our brother Wordsworth, who we also had in the SoundMinds Constellation. We've had many educators and mentors on the show. It's so important. Great educators not only try to push information on you, but they try to look, what does this young person into, and how can I teach these deeper principles by validating what they care about? So shout out to that educator that did that for you. You also mentioned Donald Passman. We went through the same thing when I was getting my Def Jam offer, and a lot of people around the area was going through the same thing. In New York, I was one of the people who turned down the deal, and a big part was because I also got access to that Donald Passman, a white dude who was putting out good information, and so you could get information from everywhere, y'all. You know what I mean? This brother, I think, gave great information to people of all colors and races involved. So shout out to everything you need to know about the business. I have to say what you said about being impatient and waiting for people to do the website. You got to throw the SoundMinds hip hop gem because light skin is about to like kill me and Rashad because he be telling us every week we gotta get a website, we gotta get a website. But right now we got soundmindshiphop.com. It does come to this podcast. It's the most important place you want to go. But that's another point for light. Like this brother was saying, like we gotta get our website up. So look forward to that in 2021. And I want to highlight something before you go on. You said high conversion rate means you need less ads. So when we talked about education, looking out for youth and seeing what's really helpful for them, not just doing our job and forcing them the information. How can I help them on their journey? We see this on the corporate sector too. If I'm understanding what you're saying, tell me if I'm wrong. But you have people who are in charge of giving you the information. We won't say any names, but oftentimes they're giving you the information and then they're swaying it in terms of what will pay them more, which is okay if it's not detrimental to what benefits you more. And in this case, if I tell you need to buy more ads and spend more on ads, that's a conflict with me telling you you need to get a higher conversion rate and better niche targeting on your ads, and that will actually lower your cost per conversion.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, business is business, right? And a business is going to do what's in their best interest to do. Like they don't care about you. That's not their job, right? So it's like it's up to you to kind of like know what you got to do to take care of you, And that's the thing, speaking to what Lightskin was saying with, artists who kind of want to focus on the talent aspect of it, like that is a big detriment, to why a lot of talented artists don't make it. You know what I'm saying? That's like a big reason. Even myself, when I was a artist like that, and sometimes it's not even a matter of what sometimes it's arrogance, so it's like me as an artist, I knew I was good, so I walked around the way a lot of other artists that I know that are really talented walk around, where they feel like everything should be given to them because of their talent, so it's like you go into a studio, you don't feel like you should have to pay for studio time. It's like, yo, listen to me, I'm ill. You're supposed to be blown away by the fact that I'm so nasty that you give me free studio time, right? A producer try to sell you beats. Yo, listen to me. You're going to hear that I'm so ill and you're going to give me your beats for free, right? And that kind of is the mentality where it's like, yo, I got the skill. So it's like the door should open up for me. And a lot of times that can be a major deterrent and a reason why people don't get where they need to get. And then on the flip side, when people do find themselves in certain situations, being too much into the writing and everything like that can be detrimental because other people are taking care of stuff. And I mean, other people have, again, their interest at heart, right? Theirs, not yours, theirs. So it's like when I was young, and we used to go to the studio with these dudes that it was like a collective that was managing us, right? And they used to always be like, because I always had questions, and they would be like, don't worry about that, youngster. We got that. You just keep making music. And that never sat well with me. Never sat well with me, because I'm like, yo, I like information. And if I want information, just give me the information. I don't want to just do music and be that, right? Just be an artist that don't know what the hell is going on. I mean, if you think about it,
Moms.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, GIF, I gave him an unofficial second acronym: Good Information for Artists.
Yeah, man. But yeah, B, it's like, yeah, man, people don't want you to know certain things because they want to get away with certain things, man, and they try to keep you in the dark. But it's like you kind of got to be somebody that want to know stuff, man, and that's going to ultimately protect you. It's kind of like the situation with like EPMD, right? And that whole thing where you had the friction between Eric and Parrish, where Eric was a business person, and he knew the paperwork and he knew what he was entitled to as the artist and the producer. And Parrish wasn't so much of a business person. So when it come down to the come down and the money, because nobody really cares until the money starts to get divvied up. When the money starts to get divvied up, and it's like, well, why are you getting this much and I'm only getting that much? And it's like, well, I paid attention, right? I did the paperwork. I made sure I got what I paid. You didn't take care of yourself. You're a grown man. It ain't my responsibility to make sure you taken care of. And as a friend, he look at it and he say, well, that's foul, right? Because even if you knew I wasn't on top of my stuff, you knew, and you're supposed to be my homie, so you're supposed to take care of me. So, if friction ensues like that, man, but a lot of times that's what it be. It's like, as artists, we make music with people and we all be like, cool, especially in hip hop, because we all coming from nothing for the most part. A lot of us is coming from nothing. So it's like we all in the hood, we all trying to find a way up, and we all got love for each other. We grew up around each other, so we friends and stuff. So you got this homeboy, he got a studio. You got this homeboy, he produced. You got these other friends that are artists, they rap. You got singers, your homegirls, they sing. You bringing everybody in the studio, letting this person sing on the joint, letting that person feature on this track. You got your boys production. You got this dude's studio, and nobody signs no paperwork. Right? Nobody signs no paperwork. Nobody says, hey, here's who owns this master. Here's who authorized to allow somebody to do something with the work. Here's what you're entitled. None of those things are taken care of. And like I said, again, none of it matters until money comes in play. And if that song becomes successful, that's when everybody comes out of the woodwork and you have a nightmare, right? Because at the end of the day, if it's not outlined in paperwork, if it's not documented, then it's up in the air. So effectively, if you have a homeboy coming to the studio and he just jumps on the track and ad-libs, and he's like, yo, 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 as an ad-lib, but you don't have him sign off to say, yo, you played the small role and you're not entitled to any ownership of this material, he could sue you and claim to be the owner. You know what I'm saying? And there's some courts that would side with him and say, yes, he is the owner. He took part in the creation of the material. So it's like, it's important to have everybody sign off on everything they do, even the studio engineer. A lot of people assume, hey, I gave him money, that takes care of it. But it only takes care of it if he decides to not pursue you for anything, which by and large, most studio engineers, they're not going to do anything like that because that's suicide for their business, But if you make enough money from something, they might be tempted to, right? Because if you got somebody who got a small studio, they only charging $20 an hour, they ain't making much. You record a song there, that song blow up and make millions of dollars. He can make $1 million suing you. He might come out and be like, yo, I never got paid. Or, yo, I never signed off and said that I relinquished my rights to this song, and then you got to go to court at the least and pay attorney fees and stuff like that to kind of sort it out with this dude. So it's like,
and a lot of times you find it's not necessarily that individual, right? That individual might be cool too, but like you're saying, once the money gets big, there might be other people in their ear, other people they're connected with. So it's not necessarily about you and your peoples and your relationships. This legal stuff and this long-term thing, you're looking ahead. How big is this song gonna go? How far is his career gonna go? And also, how is this person gonna feel? If I'm doing well and people around them is making them feel like they have low self-esteem, well, now it's just they're gonna be tempted to do that, whether they was cool with us or not, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like a long-term strategy.
You know what I was going to build on. I was going to construct on that real quick too, man. It's funny that you say that. One of the things that I love that you said is because of where we come from. A lot of times when you don't necessarily have stuff that is kind of like laid out for you, you're just like, yo, I'm trying to get what I can. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully with what I get, I'll be able to build something on a different pathway. But if you're not properly educated, you know what I mean? So you mentioned EP&D, Woo situation was happening with Woo too. You know what I mean? And it was happening with a lot of other groups and crews. And, for the most part, I myself may have gone through, or it's kind of like similar where it's just kind of like, yo, you trust somebody, you're there, they saying, yo, get up on this, man, handle this real quick. Business is the one that I love is when people say business is business, but then when it's business that takes away from them appropriately and properly, then it's no longer business. It's like, well, damn, you should have known. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's funny because I think it kind of segues into something that I've been noticing. There's a trend going on. And no disrespect to nobody, man. COVID has definitely made people innovative in a sense, but as well as that innovation has turned into scamming. You know what I mean? And I think for the most part, man, when I hear, there's a whole bunch of and I did a live where I was talking about how people like, yo, you want to get your book out? Let me help you. And then, now you see, no disrespect to nobody, man. However people want to feel, get at me if you want, but you see artists out there on some, yo, I want you on my mixtape, man. And you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, hold on, man. Now dudes is talking about, I want you on my mixtape. You know what I'm saying? And then you got DJs out there, hard body on some, yo, want you to get on this, that, and the third. And, all you need to do is pay us this money. And then, but then when you get up on the supposed mixtape that they're making, it's a SoundCloud joint that you putting out, and it's just like, yo, fam, I just paid $500, $1,000 for this. So if you can, I don't know if you want to expound on that, but if you can, I think it goes along with, and it's not to kind of pinpoint and put a target on them. It's funny when I started seeing it, and then some of my favorite, like some lyricists that I'm like, nah, not you. You know what I'm saying? But needless to say, it's all through that whole or for love. When you have love, you like, yo, I trust you, or for love. We're doing this for the hip hop culture. Let's do it, but let's both eat, and please let me get my own plate. You know what I mean? Let me be able to eat off of my own plate without feeling like you're feeding off of my artistry. You know what I mean? So if you could you just speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, man. And I know what you're talking about, bro, because I get messages about it. Where people is like, yo, man, such and such scammed me out of money for this mixtape thing. You need to talk about that on the show. You need to talk about them. And I'm like, yo, I'm not going to. I don't talk about, like, my show is not about dragging anybody, right? First off. And second off, y'all watch the show. So y'all know I provide information to them about how to do things the right way. So it's like at the end of the day, what people want is shortcuts. People want shortcuts. They want a silver bullet, right? They want to effectively wake up tomorrow and be famous. Like how Mace got that song where he say, drop murder off Mace, woke up at Teen Summit. That's what they want, right? They want to just like, yo, I uploaded the song to SoundCloud and I blew up, right? That's what they want. Instant gratification, instant fame. And that's why they get caught up in these scams. Somebody say, hey, give me $500 to be on my mixtape. And they think, well, this is an established artist. I'm going to give him this 500 and that's going to be a shortcut. I'm going to get on this mixtape and then to the rock, to the moon, right? No different than these showcases and stuff where they say, hey, we got a celebrity host. They take some washed up rapper and they say, hey, this guy's going to host, give me $300 to get on, and they pay it and they get on and that guy just be like, oh man, you did real good. And then they walk away like, yo, man, so-and-so was like, I'm ill. And that's all you got for the night, So it's like, there are legitimate pathways for people to be able to effectively market themselves and get themselves out there. But people by and large don't want to go that way because it seems like it's a longer way to go. Like, man, this guy's talking about a process. He's talking about like advertising and having to bring fans in. And oh my God, this is a lot, right? This guy is saying, give me money. I'll put you on my website and you'll be famous. That is what I want. And if that is what you choose to do, then you get what you deserve. You know what I'm saying? I got nothing to say to you or on your behalf about that. Don't come to give and be like, yo, man, you got to shout these people out. That's like, yo, bro, I gave you a pathway. You chose to not go that way.
And it's funny, like a lot of times we see this phenomenon where people will complain more about the person that they hate and a famous person that's blowing up, instead of just like, one thing I do, I play like Light and Rashaman. We all artists. Some people just know us through the podcast as podcasters. Now let's remind people we all artists. I play Rashaman music every day. I play Light's music every day. I play my music every day.
I actually love the music. You know what I mean? It's the music that I want to hear. So I'll be playing it even if I didn't know them. But it's like it's also like it reminds me before I complain about anything, did I go and tap in with people and do my diligence to support positive influences before I went to complain? And it's kind of like that balance we talk about with a brother such as Gift, where it's like, can you balance skepticism, seeing a problem, but also that should motivate you to be a problem solver. Don't just be so caught up in a problem. Because if you always complaining about other people, then it turns out like, wait, is you really trying to do anything? Like, what is the real
But
agenda behind this? At the end of the day, if it's all complaint and no action, right?
Rob, let me chime in on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because in this social media age, people don't speak about the negative. They speak about the negative because there's a reward for it, right? So it's like, let's say Nicki Minaj comes out with a song and you don't like the song, let's say I like light skin song, right? People don't know him. If they don't know him and I go to Twitter and I say, yo, here's a song that I love, I get ignored because people don't know him. And what I want ultimately is attention. I want people to pay attention to me. So I know that if I go to Twitter or Instagram or Facebook and I say, yo, this new Nicki Minaj song is trash, then people are going to come and they're going to be like, either they're going to agree with me or they're going to disagree with me, but they're going to pay attention to me, right? So they're going to come and they're going to be like, yo, man, nah, you bugging. That joint is hot. Why you hating? Or they're going to be like, yeah, it is trash, man. And then you're going to have all of these comments, right? And you're going to have likes and you're going to have shares and stuff like that. And it's going to feed the algorithm and show to more people. And that's what people, that's
Breaking
the
it
game
down.
people play. That's why no matter whether people like something or dislike something, if it's popular, they're going to say something about it, even if they don't care about it, right? Like you see those comments too, where people be like, I don't even care about it. It's like, if you don't care about it, why do you feel the need to publicly state that you don't care about it? Go about your business. Because they want attention.
Wait, hold on. I
ultimately.
think we need to repeat that for people that didn't hear. That was a SoundMinds jam. Bing. He said, if people really didn't care about it, how you fixed your tongue, fingers, and face to come out and say you don't care about it? It tends to be when we don't care about something, we don't care about it. You don't say I don't care about it. So what you saying, and I understood it like mentally, but the way you articulating it is ingenious. Like what you actually saying, the way we understand it, which is that people are being incentivized to say they don't care. People are being incentivized to express things because we want to express, and that's what hip hop culture going. Oh, shout out to Hip Hop History Month, by the way. Shout out to Minister Server, Temple of Hip Hop, and everybody. It's this first day of Hip Hop History Month. But hip hop gave us a way to express ourselves because all this white supremacy and racism and oppression that we've gone through in this country made us feel like we couldn't express ourselves in any way, our bodies, our culture, our phrases, whatever. And so we had this beautiful, you can express yourself. So now what they doing through the internet, if I'm understanding you saying they're letting you get that off. Okay, you can express yourself, but by the way, it's more incentivized, whether it's the algorithms or whether it's whatever society and the advertising dollars, because they're commercials. They're not, it's commercial radio, it's commercial advertising platform, it's commercial conversion rates, it's not spiritual incentives. So they saying we like to see y'all acting dumb. We like to see clickbait. So you got to be careful. I guess what you're saying that you don't say something that might be completely contradictory because that's actually what's incentivized through the algorithms and through this media.
What they're doing is it's in a way it's Pavlovian, right? It's like the dinner bell and the dog, it kind of works in that capacity, man, so it's like it's a reward system, so it's like you do this and you get that. So it's like you talk about these things and you get shares, you get likes, you get comments, the algorithm feeds it to more people. You talk about those things, nobody pays attention to it. And people get caught up because the likes and the shares, they say it's like dopamine. It's almost like people being a shot of cocaine or something, so people be addicts and they don't know that they addicts, but they addicts, they're addicted to it. So you got a lot of people on social media working against their own interests. Like somebody is on Instagram as an artist to promote their music. Somebody on Twitter for the purpose of promoting their music. But instead of promoting their music, because nobody pays attention to when they post about their music, they're on Twitter and Instagram and stuff talking about politics. They're talking about sports. They're talking about whatever gets them attention instead of the objective that they're there for, right? So it's like if a donut shop starts an Instagram page and they gotta like post pictures of Trump or Biden or whoever, right, to get attention, it's like you're not selling donuts, right? So it's like, how is this helping your business? You're not making any money. You're not bringing anybody to your donut shop. So it's like, what's the point of being there? And for the most, for artists, it's a different thing, right? A business is a straight line, right? You got a donut shop. If you don't sell donuts, your business shut down. You can't pay rent. With art, people can get caught up in the idea of popularity and in the shares and in the perception and thinking, oh, okay, well, I got this many followers and I got this engagement. I matter to people. Other people are going to see that I matter to people, and that's going to open up doors for me, right? And that's what a lot of times artists be thinking, and that's what leads them astray with all of this stuff, where they say, okay, well, if I just jump on this thing and I do all of these different things, 1,000,001 hashtags, and just bring traffic, then that's going to help me ultimately. And it's not, because if people follow you because you have political views one way or the other, or because you talk about cooking or something like that, that's what they're following you for. And then when you post something about music, they're going to ignore you. They're going to ignore it, you know? And that's something that I've experienced with like some of the ladies, you know, that have hit me up for marketing and stuff, where they're on Instagram and they're effectively Instagram models. So it's like they're there, and it's like all you post is pretty much just effectively you in bikinis, twerking, stuff like that. And now you want to come and say, hey, I want to rap. And you upload a song and you put that up, and people are like, we don't want to hear you rap. We want to see you get naked. You know, that's why we're here. We followed you for that.
And
You know,
just to make sure for people who need the subtitle, literally the algorithms doing that based on your previous thing. It's not just people's opinions at that point, even though it started. It's people's opinions on what you gave them. It attracted more people of that opinion and more people of that viewing history. So now the actual computer that has no opinion whatsoever is just saying, I'm going to attract people that just want to see you in a thong right now. That's what's happening, right?
Yeah. I mean, some of it is engineered, right? Because social media is social engineering. You know, they have certain things that they, you know, because it's no different than, you know, Facebook decides, hey, like how, more so like YouTube right now, right? Where they say, okay, well, with holistic health, they say, we don't want people to be misled about what can actually help them in regards to health. So we're going to police it, and we're going to say, okay, well, if you Google certain things about holistic health, we're going to make sure you get these things instead of those things, right? You're going to get disclaimers that say, hey, you know, this thing that you looking up ginger root, something like that. It might say something like, well, this has been proven to not be effective. You know, you might want to consult your doc. You know, they can socially engineer these things to make sure certain things show over others. So there is that aspect of it. It's social engineering, where they can steer society one way or another, you know. And even Facebook did a social experiment to some extent where people didn't even know it, but they basically flooded the feed with like negative stuff to see if they could impact the way people felt, you know. Flood the feed with negative stuff, then flood the feed with positive stuff, you know.
There was a lawsuit about that because they basically conducted this experiment without telling people.
Yeah, they didn't tell people. So it's like they know by what people see in the feed, it impacts, because it's like public opinion sways policy, and it also sways public practice. So it's like everybody wants to be on the right side of history. Everybody wants to be on the right side of everything. So it's like when you come out and you make it seem like, I don't know how old y'all are, right? But I remember in the 90s, right, where you had those songs like I'm a 90s girl and all of that type of stuff. It was like, it was a common thing that everybody would be saying, like, yo, it's the 90s, man. It's the 90s. You got to get with the times, you know? So it's like, as time progresses, that's what happens. People start being like, yo, it's the 90s, or it's the 2000s, yo, it's 2020, man. You got to get with the times. And when people, because it's like when you hear that from people, you got the other people around you that you can kind of turn to and be like, nah, that's not what's up. You got the people in your inner circle. But when you look on social media, and it makes it seem as if the people in your inner circle, because you got not just now your 4 or 5 people that you know that you're close to, but now you got like this feed of everybody that they are connected to and all this other stuff and all these external people. It can make it seem as if everybody thinks a certain way that they don't. You know, it can be 5 people that are responsible for like 90% of the information that you see in your feed, and you'll be looking at that and you'll be like, damn, everybody keeps posting about this, everybody keeps saying this, oh, this is the new way that everything is going. And then you are basically in a position where either you're gonna jump on a bandwagon and be like, okay, cool, well, I guess I gotta change my attitude and the way that I think now to kind of like align with what's going on, or you're gonna be resistant to it and be like, oh my God, I gotta fight against this, right? And that's why you see this combativeness with the two sides, where the people who are like, enough of this, everybody keeps talking about this, I'm tired of people, you know, and they get upset and, you know, combative and want to fight effectively, right? And then the other side are like, that's right, these things, this is a new day, you know, and that is social engineering. That's the social media feeds doing that, you know.
And it's also, I mean, for the most part too, man, it's funny because kind of off key, on key. I think, like you said, a lot of people in history want to be they want to be on the right side. And I think that this era, this generation has made it where it's not even about being on the right side no more as much as it is being on the loudest side. You know what I mean? So off key, Kevin Durant says, you know, Kyrie Irving is better than AI. And that is phenomenally crazy to me, right? But then, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, you know, because I'm thinking, damn, AI had Mutombo and went to the chip. But, you know, nonetheless, then the whole speaking about the Knicks, but I'm like, fam, you didn't sign with us. I'm a diehard Knicks fan. You didn't sign with us. Why are you still talking about a team that you decided not to play? But I say that to say, I think that the new age of thinking is more so, let me just say anything just to be kind of like, let me in a sense, what's that? Let me trend. You know what I'm saying? Let me be the newest hashtag, knowing that what I'm saying is just really not that intelligent. But like you said, is the dopamine. It's the, oh, let me just get people to bite on to what I'm saying just to kind of have something to be spoken about tomorrow. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
So with that being said, you had a episode just recently. And you know, for those who haven't been able to check you out yet or even check out that episode, how do artists find success? Dope concept. If you don't mind, brother, what do you have like of course, this is the microwave age. Everybody wants things so quickly. So I'm not necessarily asking you for the quickest ingredients, but what would you say is, how would you say is the best way for artists to find success?
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, so it's a process. And a part of success is serendipity. You know, being honest with you. You know, it's a degree of luck involved in it. And it's a lot more luck than people like to give credit to, because everybody has egos and everybody want to feel like they're responsible for everything that happens. It was me, it was all me, you know, and everybody want to feel like that, man. But a lot of times it's right place, right time, right song, right time. You know what I'm saying? Like that's got a lot to do with it, you know? And if it's not luck, then it's process. It's people who find success, and it's not like you bumped into somebody in this place or something like that. It's been years. And when they come out and they become successful, people make it seem as if it happened overnight, but it didn't. You know, that's like a lot of these comedians that we see where people be like, they just came out of nowhere. And it's like, no, they didn't. They spent like a decade going to open mics and doing all these talent showcases and stuff like that. Like they weren't like a flash in the pan. Like this person been on the grind for years, you know? So it's like, with that being said, it's like, if you want to find success, and again, there's different definitions of it. You know, for some people it's fame, and, you know, they want to walk down the street and be recognized and mobbed and things of that nature. But there's also the aspect of success where you are able to provide for yourself and your family through your art, you know, and that is what a lot of like artists aspire for, right? To not have to go to some job that they don't want to go to and work 8, 12 hours, you know, and only be able to do their music in between that, you know, squeezing in time to do their music. So it's like, if you can buy a house and pay for a mortgage and stuff like that off of your music, for a lot of artists, that's success. That's like, yo, man, I provide for my family. I go downstairs in the basement to my studio, record new songs, put them up, make money, go upstairs and play with my kids. You know, so it's like, if you are in the realm of trying to create that type of success, then there is a pathway, you know, through basically infrastructure, where you have your system set up, where you advertise and you have remarketing lists set up, and you have a website set up and e-commerce set up, and you know, you have merch and things of that nature. And with building that type of infrastructure and that type of system, first and foremost, the main thing that artists need to understand is what comes first is your relationship with your fans and the audience, you know. And that's something that a lot of times artists overlook. And it'd be a challenge even with artists that I advertise for, because sometimes, you know, they don't do anything beyond give people a song, you know. So it's like, you give people a song, they like the song, now what? Because we are not in the age, this ain't the 90s where
Yo,
people,
you hurting my heart
yeah,
right now, sibling.
this ain't the 90s where
Hurting me
people had
deep.
to
Like
go
I just,
to a record store and buy a song. Now people can get it on YouTube, they can get it on
I
SoundCloud.
want to
They don't need to
interject.
buy
Like
it, right? They don't need to buy it.
I'm taking this personally. I'm taking this personally right now. So I got a song coming out on November 3rd, and my whole thing was like, okay, it could come out whenever this month. I'm gonna put it out November 3rd because that's a responsibility as like a educate type dude. I want people to focus on November 3rd. This is one of the most important elections we'll ever see. Why would I don't want to distract people from November 3rd? So I said, cool, I got a single, let me put it on November 3rd. November 3rd, November 3rd, November 3rd. Keep that in people's minds. November 3rd. That's election day in America, right? So I put that out, but still, it's just a song, right? And I'm starting to market more, like my songs are getting played more than ever. And it's like, okay, so this song is gonna be more than the last song. And how am I gonna promote this? And I now like, okay, let me ask Giff a question about how do I market this song? But if I understand what you're saying and what I've been learning, that's lazy and egotistical, because we're not marketing a song. Your song is marketing you. And most importantly, when you go to market your song or yourself, you're going to market yourself. You're going to market, I'm still here as an artist. I'm this type of person, right? And what I've been seeing as I looked on YouTube and I've been reading and researching you, basically people are moving away from this song is out to you know, posting on Facebook, posting on Instagram stories to get people to say, go to my profile. And people are seeing, like you said, a higher conversion rate with lower ad spend when they say, check out my profile. Are you interested in this? Don't just click on this link, right? Where we see these artists who get 1 million plays in one day. And then when you look at the stats, it dips the next day because they had 1 million people view that ad, click on a song. But what they didn't do was have 1 million people check this ad and say, hey, don't click this link if you don't rock with me like that. I'm this type of person. If you rock with me as this type of person, then go ahead and click that link. Now, I might get less link clicks initially, but I'm going to have more people clicking through to my brand, not just for that song, but to be in my community, who I rock with. And everybody else, all those 1 million people that I didn't get to click, they might not be for me anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a duality to it, right? Because you got two sides to it. Because what it comes down to is what is in your music effectively, because you got some people who their music really represents them. You know, like their music, you can hear their song and be like, oh, okay, I know who this guy is by listening to his song. I know what he represents. I know what he stands for. You know, that's like listening to 90s rap, Nas and them, and they talk about Mobile Jew Ali and all this other stuff. And they, you know, they kicking street poets, street prophets. You know what I'm saying? This type of you like, I know who this is. Mob Deep. These guys are like street thugs. You know what I'm saying? They live in this type of lifestyle. You know, Sadat X and them. Oh, these guys are street intellectuals and they live in that type of lifestyle, right? You listen to people's music and you get an idea of what it is they stand for, what it is they represent. But not all artists have that. Really, nowadays, most artists don't. You know, it's just a song is just a song. You know, you listen to it and you don't really know what that artist is about. You know, so it's like outside of like trap and stuff, like you know what they're about, like, you know, and that's why ultimately a lot of them experience a higher level of success the most like I would say alternative rappers today, because a lot of times the alternative hip hop now is just rap, right? It's rapidy rap. So it's like I'm a lyrical dude and I'm just spitting bars, and people don't have any idea of who you are from that. They just like, he could rap, right? But now I have no relationship with you though, right? I don't know what you stand for. I don't know if we have anything in common. Even if I like this song, I'm not committed to you as an artist. I like this song. So if I can get this song on YouTube, or maybe I could steal it, right? Maybe I could download it for free somehow, take it to some MP3 to YouTube website or something, right? I got the song. That's all I wanted. I don't want you. I don't care about you. I just like this song. So it's like when you come in and it's just like, here's the song, and the song is not about anything in particular, and there isn't anything that ties the person to that song emotionally that makes them want to look you up or anything like that, then it's like it becomes a challenge, you know? And that's when it can be beneficial to do things like drive them to your social media feed where they can get an idea of your personality and stuff like that. But when your music speaks to your identity and it's about something, then it can speak for itself and take on a life of its own. So it's like, to give an example, right? And this is somewhat of a good bad example, right? But you got like Macklemore when he had that song Same Love, right? Same Love was a song about gay marriage, right? But being that he's Macklemore and he already had like an infrastructure set in place with press, with PR people and stuff like that, he didn't have to explicitly come out and be like, hey, this is about gay marriage to benefit, right? He could just name his song Same Love, put it out there, and then the media takes a hold of it and gives context, you know? But people hear the song and they say, oh, this is what this is about. And then people take that and they spread it and they do what they do with it. And then that creates a certain level of relationship with him, because it's like, oh, this is what he stands for. He's about this. We support that. We support him. You know what I'm saying? And that is by and large what can help an artist become successful from the song. Now, sometimes artists trip themselves up with that by being too overt and too exploitative, which is what we see in the Black Lives Matter era, with a lot of the black deaths, where somebody want to like name a song after somebody that got killed by the cops, or you got like 101 Black Lives Matter songs, or 101 No Justice, No Peace songs, you know, where it's like very redundant, you know. And I get a lot of people send me these songs or want me to like market these songs, and I listen to them and I'm like, yeah, okay. But it's the same thing. It's another video where you got people protesting in the streets with black fists in the air. I've seen this video like 20 times right now, you know, 20 times already. There's nothing separating them from each other. And the thing about it is, and this is the difference between like, you don't have to be overt to kind of like capture the feel of what people are feeling within a moment. That's how like people used to say that jazz music was protest music during the civil rights era and all of that other stuff. And the argument people would make, they'd be like, well, how could jazz be protest music? There's no words, right? But it's like, yo, it's the feeling of it. It's the chaos, right? It's the anger that you can hear in the musical instrumentation. So it doesn't have to be a black fist in the air, we're mad and we're not going to take it anymore. Sometimes it can just be an embodiment of the sentiment that people and the emotion that people are feeling within that time. So it could be a song where somebody is just screaming through it. But if that's the way people feel and they hear that, they might connect with that more than they would a song where somebody is marching in the street with picket signs and they like, so and so got shot and I'm mad, you know, because it's like, all right, we know that. But I'm mad and I need to be able to express that anger, and
Yo,
I can't
Lucy,
express that anger myself. I can't
Lucy's
go
in the
outside
chat
and yell.
saying
People look at me
gems,
crazy, but I could
gems.
play your song where you yell, right? And that's a song. So people use comedians in that way, where they go watch comedians that say stuff they wish they could say, you know, and they sit back and they be like, oh my God, that's so true, right? And the comedians are the truth tellers because they get to say the things that society would punish a regular person for saying, you know, and
Yo,
that's what people
I
come
wanna,
for artists to do.
I want to let you know that you're doing that right now. Like, I know this isn't a song, but you doing the same thing as a preacher preaching, a rapper rapping. When we in the freestyle cipher and you hit a bunch of words that rhyme and sound right and everybody in the crowd on the same thing. That's what you're doing right now. The chat is blowing up. My brother Heroes of Color saying that's effort. That's real effort. You know, Matt Matt, what's up, my brother in the chat? Um, you know, Heroes of Color said, if social media closed down today, how many businesses will be lost, right? Because people don't have a connection to the business, they just have a connection to that ad. If that ad stops, they won't even know. My star Lucy said the relevancy, the connection, the vibe. You dropping gems right now. And I also want to say, like, you doing exactly what you talking about, because you talking about the diaspora, you talking about African history, you talking about world history, psychology, and government, but really you just putting it in the format of helping artists market their music, you know. But I do want to highlight this real quick. Some of the things you said was like with trap music, right? A lot of people say, okay, they're not or really mumble rap. I want to say mumble rap. A lot of people say, oh, they're not really articulate, they're not saying much. But again, our whole tradition from jazz, from blues is our language was beaten out of us and raped and murdered out of us. So how do you speak and represent a people that have soul and feeling and value when the more you speak the correct language, the more you're actually being submitted into your oppressor, right? So sometimes to scat and skibbity bop bop bop, you know, shoobity da hitting it, James Brown. Like sometimes when we say things that are not articulate, direct messages, right? It actually gives our people a more direct message. Like I feel you, John Coltrane. I feel what you're going through. I feel you dealing with that heroin and the drugs and the police brutality. When I hit beep, 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 Miles Davis, when I hear those notes, for y'all who don't know, I'm talking about John Coltrane, who they actually created a church for after he passed away, rest in peace. And Miles Davis, these people were legendary and they played through their music. But that was the precursor to spoken word and hip hop poets. So if we get so far into that, we're actually using words as words, we're forgetting our words was when we got the right to actually talk and have a platform as Black people without immediately getting sidecasted now. But in a way, from what you're saying, I feel like in a way we are getting sidecasted. So before you had to speak through a trumpet or saxophone, right? Now it's like, nah, you could talk, Black people, Latino people, you could talk, but just make sure your words aren't saying anything, right? And we're always trying to code switch and find a way around that. And I feel like what you're saying is the way we do that in our music by just saying blah, 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 da, 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 just having a certain sound that we know, even if it's not logical. You're saying we need to do that with our marketing. We don't need to tell people the album drops here and this is what I'm about. We need to find the cues that on a soulful level connect with our fans somehow, right? Now, I don't know how the hell you do that, and that's going to be our follow-up question with you. How do you do this? But I know I'm not going to be talking so much about my single coming out November 3rd. I'm going to be talking more about, hey, I got a new joint, but it's your boy. You rock with me. If you rock with me, I'm here, and I need your support. Am I on the right
Nah,
track?
nah, you want to shout your joint out, right? Because people got to
Okay.
know that you got a song out. People need to know the basic aspects of marketing, right? The who, what, when, where, why, right? So it's like you put that out. The other stuff just helps those things to on along, right? It helps people care effectively, because if all you do is say the who, what, when, where, why, and nothing else, people don't care. It's like, why should I bother? Why do I care who, what, when, where, why? Right? So you got to add the context to that, man. But it's like speaking to the unspoken that people connect with. It's like there was a song, man, back in the days, not back in the days, I guess like maybe 10 years ago or so. I don't know if you remember it, but yeah, man. It's like during that era where everybody was complaining about hip hop and the new form of hip hop and stuff. But it's like you could hear the young Black angst in it, right? Like it was this one song that embodied that whole thing, man. What was it? Nuck if you buck, right? Nuck if you buck,
If you
right?
book,
Like it was just the energy of that record. Like you could hear what those teenagers was feeling at that time, right? Like this is like, yo, we don't know what the hell is going on. We just know everything is messed up and we ready to break shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and if you go to a party and you see them in there, they slam dancing. You know what I'm saying? It reminded me of like the era when Onyx came out, and Onyx come out with slam, and you go to a party and everybody just shoving each other and stuff like that. You know, where it's just like you young, you mad, you don't know what to do with all of that anger, you don't know where to put it, right? So it's just like but it's like that what they're saying, right? Because it's like, in a song like Slam, Onyx wasn't like police brutality, this, that, and the third. They were rapping, but it's like the energy of it was like, yo, I can express how I'm feeling right now through this record. You know what I'm saying? So it's like things like that, man, making records like that. And sometimes it can be overt, right? Like there was an artist by the name of NY Oil out of New York. You know, he came out with a song called Y'all Should All Get Lynched, right? About the hip hop record. You remember that? Yeah, the hip hop record calling out the rappers that was talking about drug dealing and calling them sellouts and stuff like that. And he embodied what a lot of people was feeling at that moment. Like he captivated the anger, right? So it's like it was other people that was making those kinds of songs, but it didn't capture the level of anger that people had. And he did. He did. When he came out, people were like, this is it, right? This is what we need to be saying to these people. And I saw him perform at open mics and stuff, and he played it up, right? Like he come in and it was some open mic at the Pyramid, I believe, man. He was competing for like some money, and he came in and he like flipped the table
you really
over.
In the constellation, Gift. You really in the constellation.
Y'all should all fucking be lynched.
He right? Said the Pyramid, like you heard me? I didn't even know he was in the constellation. Like he's in the constellation. Like you SoundMinds for real, bro.
Yeah, man. But yeah. Man.
So, let me ask you a question, man. And you know, with all that being said, man, would you have any advice, right, in regards to advertisement? Would you have any advice for marketing? Anything that you feel like, you know, we I guess you can, if you want, talk percentages. But if you were just to go like, you know, when you know you cooking some food, you know that there's a couple ingredients that you like, nah, this is my taste, this is my flavor. I know this is going to taste good because I use this. Is there any advice that you could give like that where it's just like 100% do this? You know what I mean? Anything that you could share?
Yeah, man. First and foremost, you got to make sure whatever you're advertising is attractive. Because if you don't make sure it's attractive, you're just throwing money down the well. You know, so that's first and foremost. If it's not something that attracts attention, it's dead in the water, because that's what advertising is. It's putting up something and trying to bring attention to it. So if the visuals don't pop, right, it's dead in the water. And that's what advertising today is with social media and stuff. So unless you're doing audio ads where you're getting something played on radio, or you're doing Spotify ads or Deezer ads or something like that, where it's just a song, you're going to need quality video, quality imagery, and you can't skimp on that. And too many artists do skimp on that because they think, okay, well, I could just do my graphics myself, right? And they go and they do some crappy graphics, you know, where they put some text on over something, and it's like, yo, that's like your face. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if people see your face and they're not attracted to your face, 9 times out of 10, it don't go no farther than that, you know? So it's like you got to make sure that that's together, man. You know, before you go outside, you wash your face. You know what I'm saying? You get a fresh cut, you know, all of that other stuff, man. So you got to make sure that's together. So the visuals are of very high importance, man. And then second to the visuals, it's your song, right? And not just whether it's a good song, because I hear this a lot of times where artists say, hey, you know, my song is top notch, and not because it's like some amazing record, but because they feel like it stands up to what else is out there. So it's like, well, I feel like quality wise, my record is just as good as so-and-so's record. But it's like, you are not supposed to be trying to be like the best underground artist. You're supposed to be trying to be the best artist, point blank, period. Right? So it kind of reminds me of like that comedy skit, basically like a part of a comedy routine that Cat Williams did, where he was talking about the Chrysler and the Bentley or whatever. And he's like, yo, you know, a dude is rolling around in a Chrysler that looks like a Bentley, and he thinks it's a big shot because he got this Chrysler that looked like a Bentley, until he pull up at a light and the guy with a Bentley pulls up, and then what you got? A Chrysler. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that reminds me of the situation with the artist who is like, my music sounds as good as, it's like, okay, well, if somebody is listening on Spotify and a Lil Wayne song come on and then your song come on, they're not going to be like, this is just as good as. They're going to be like, this is whack and that was hot, point blank, period. So it's like, if people hear your song and you don't get a reaction out of people, that's not a song you want to advertise, you know? And a lot of times people just listen to what people say, right? As opposed to watching what they do. So it's like when you are not like testing yourself, like if you ain't got the budget to like basically advertise your song and see how people respond to it, where it's like you just shooting your shot with whatever you got, and only people you got to bounce stuff off of is family and friends. So you play your music for them to see what they say and then make your decision based off their reaction. Then when you are in that situation, don't look at and listen. Don't listen to what they say. You got to watch what they do. If you play a song for your friends and stuff, and the answer, then the question that they ask isn't, yo, where can I get that? How can I get that? That ain't the song. You know what I'm saying? If they're not responding to you with like enthusiasm and excitement and stuff like that, if it's a, yo, that's hot, that ain't the song. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like that writer, what Robert Frost say, no tears in the writer, no tears in the reader. Even for yourself, if it's not a song that moves you in any way, it ain't the song, you know? Because sometimes people just, it's like mundane almost. You record a song, you say, hey, this is my single, I'm pushing this song, right? And you pushing it a lot of times, not because it's the best song, but because of other things going on. This sounds like this sounds like it could be played on the radio. This sounds like a club song. This sounds like a song for the ladies. And people be picking records based on that, as opposed to picking records based on, hey, this is something that I love. And if you love it, other people like you will love it, right? And also you're going to push it with a level of excitement that's going to translate, you know? So it's like, yeah, man, and you are going to be better off with a record that at least some people are passionate about than you are with a record that a lot of people just like. You know what I'm saying? Because if you touch people, and people love a record, they're going to go and become mouthpieces, and they're going to tell other people, and then you have residual. So it's like you have the ad,
we interrupt for breaking news. Wise guy in Gaston.
Those people will bring you more traffic.
Wise guy in Gaston checking in. Yo, my dude, Wise guy. What's up?
I think that's
what's
really
up?
important, man.
All that in the building. SoundMinds crew.
I think that's really important too, man. Just based off of like what you said. So, for instance, right now, I'm rocking one of my cousin's sweaters. You know what I mean? And he's an artist, and I think that's where that kind of comes into play too. That support that's needed. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you have your people, and kind of have, in a sense, everybody be that frontline soldier for you. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, back in the day, the hustle was really about the word of mouth and how you was out there and really hustling. And I remember we used to do the SoundMinds shows in CBGBs or Pyramid or wherever it was. We was the ones out on the front line soldiering out there on some, we got a show coming out. Whereas now the hustle is, let me just be the most, for the most part, most controversial person so that I can now sell what I'm putting out there. You know what I'm saying? And if anything, how would you advise, and how do you combat that when you're more so focused on the skill level? You know what I mean? Like the samurai I was talking about. You're more so focused on my sword play is nasty, whereas somebody else could go get half naked, you know what I mean? Or do something stupid just to get that traffic that that your talent should be receiving.
I mean, it all speaks to the fact that you gotta work within yourself, man. So it's like, if right now, if you are an artist that is focused on the art and the art form, then you should be on platforms like Bandcamp, right? And if you got like an audience yourself, right, that you've been out, like you've been working the circuit, you've been at Pyramid, you've been at the New Eurekan, you've been at the Knitting Factory, you've been at all of those spots.
Good talking, right? That talk.
Yeah, you've been at all of those spots, right? Putting the work in, and you got the fan base. Then you can take those people wherever you want them to go because you own that audience. So it's like, then that's where you're able to sell directly from your website and, you know, just basically create stuff to feed them, do live stream performances and charge for access, or just have people like give money during the stream through super chats or whatever, right? Different things that you could utilize for that, man. So it's like, depending on what type of artist you are, you would pick certain lanes. And then that kind of like puts you in a position where if the other stuff comes, it comes. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But either way, you're still okay. Because the structure that we have right now isn't beneficial to like the artist. It's based around popularity, which is just based around interest. So it's like popularity isn't even driven by the fact that people like a song. It's just driven by controversy for the most part. So if somebody says, yo, man, so-and-so made this song where they said they slapped Jay-Z, don't matter if that song is good or not. People put it up on Twitter. Everybody's going to go check it out. They're going to go listen to it. And all of the people that go listen to it with this current structure, if they listen to it, it's a win. If they listen to it for at least 30 seconds, that counts as a stream in Spotify. The algorithm is going to pick it up and push it to more people, and you're going to make money. You know, that's in the current structure. So it's not beneficial to like the artist because it's not about art. You know what I'm saying? People, you might have less people who are in love with the song than people who are just willing to check out a song. And the current structure that we have, if somebody recorded a song with their cat playing piano and put that up, that song might be a Billboard number one hit, because a lot of people would be like, oh shit, a cat playing piano, you know, and they'll go and they'll listen to it, and that song might get 1 billion streams, you know, and we have a dynamic set up for that to win. So we have other things on track, right, where you got people fighting for what's called the user-centric payment model with streaming, where they kind of step away from the system that they have now, which is they pay you a percentage of revenue based on your percentage of the total number of streams. So you're effectively, first off, tied to the amount of money that Spotify makes. So if no matter how many streams you get, if Spotify only makes $1 million, you're getting a percentage of $1 million. It doesn't matter how much people stream your music. So if people stream your music more, you make less per stream, because unless they make more money, the percentage doesn't represent more money. You know what I'm saying? So they cap you like that. And then they have a situation where it's popularity based, where even if you can have somebody who like let's say I stream Light Skin's music and I stream his music all of the time, it's irrelevant if other people come into the platform and stream somebody else's music all of the time. So if somebody else has, like, let's say he has 1,000 streams from people who committed to him and they stream his music, but somebody else has a million individual people who come to the platform and stream their song once, that person gets all of the money over him. You know what I'm saying? And the user-centric model changes that and makes it so if somebody is paying Spotify $10 and they listen to your music 75% of the time, you get 75% of their $10. And that's what people are fighting for now. You have what's called the Justify Spotify movement, a collective of independent artists and artists that are demanding that Spotify pay more. And even signed artists now are waking up in Germany and stuff like that, because COVID woke people up, because basically they were making money from live performances, right? So they weren't even paying attention to the streaming revenue. That was like a drop in the bucket to what they was getting everywhere else. But now, being that the live money have dried up, they are now looking for income anywhere they can find it. And now they're looking and they're like, damn, stream, I'm only getting what, 0.003%? Like, yo, what the hell is going on here? You know? So now it's becoming like this big movement for that. And if that movement materializes and they actually do switch to the user-centric payment system, then everything changes, you know? Because in the models that they did, like in the case studies that they did, when they implement that, it's almost like a flip. Genres like jazz and alternative and country and stuff like that become the dominant genres, and hip hop and stuff like that drop, and not so much alternative and underground hip hop, but the commercial hip hop, because people aren't really committed to it. It's just popular. You know, it's a lot more people will listen to it once while they partying or whatever, but they don't listen to it all of the time. You know, so that music experiences a decline. And what's jamming it up is the unwillingness of record companies to even involve themselves in an experiment. Like, they just refuse to even test it out at all. Like they're just saying, no, we're not even going to see how it will work, right? Because it would negatively impact their top acts. But
and this keeps
see,
tying back to
something like that would change the game.
What I love about how you teaching and mentoring, you're really giving technical advice and just what people could do, but there's always a subtext of you saying, look, there's people who actually don't want us to win out there. And I hate to say this, but it speaks to your approach. You got a Mercury retrograde recession proof approach to success. And it speaks to your proof about like really knowing what you're up against. So he's not, Gift ain't out here talking about corporation conspiracies and the man trying to keep you down. He's letting you know, regardless of what's happening, what you need to do, right? And if there are people who do not want you to win, which clearly the way the system's set up, whether it's just by accident or not, we could debate, but that's how it's set up. It's set up to incentivize people who don't really care about each other and relationship building, and give equal value or more value to people that just click on clickbait. So I'm gonna ask one of my last questions before I pass it back to Light, because he got some breakdowns and stuff to throw at you. But one of my last questions is, we know that, like Light was saying, the method right now for a lot of people is basically being a troll and clout chasing, right? Like, I'm gonna be a troll and clout chase because that's how you're gonna want to come to my show, versus me say, hey, I'm SoundMinds, we got a show at the Pyramid Sunday night. Because if they don't know, because you don't have enough clout chasing or trolling, who SoundMinds is, it's basically like I'm saying, blah, 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 blah. But if I say, yo, such and such troll snitch is gonna be at this club on this time, now it's like, oh, he's gonna be at the club at this time. It's literally cutting through communication. So we get that, but we also see you putting pressure on us and other artists to say, that being as it may, the issue is you're not breaking through the sound, right? And you can't just take the easy way out and say, okay, so I'm a clout chasing, troll, and snitch on people now. You actually have to say, be more direct with your message. Let people know it's not just about your show, that you have a movement, that you show up every day, and you might not be a big troll or whatever, but you're a consistent person who's always going to show up and they're going to want to hear about. It takes a little bit longer, but maybe it has a little bit more genuine appeal for the individual, if not for the algorithms. So my question is, the live stream and the authentic method, like you said, I know I was featured on, shout out to Fake 4 and Chesky, I was featured on the Twitch channel recently, right? So we tuned in, we did our stream kind of like this, but they put it through the Twitch. And I know I'm gonna be seeing videos from you on Twitch because they just added to DistroKid and they're doing another thing. And I know a lot of people think like it's another way to circumvent paying artists because we don't know how many 0.001 cents they're gonna pay. But needless to say, I was on this Twitch stream, and what they did was it was kind of like you said, super chat, but Twitch version. They had a way where people could give money, whatever they wanted during the show. So it was like 3 other artists with me. At the end of the show, they split up the proceeds that people were giving live on the show, and then they sent us each equal share that on Venmo or Cash App, what have you. You got the super chat type thing, you got the Twitch type thing, you got the live type thing. When I look on YouTube, okay, and it's kind of a technical question, I see that most people are saying, here's how you do it on Spotify, right? You get these ads to IG stories more than Facebook, maybe some on Facebook, maybe some on YouTube, but mostly IG stories. You play a little clip of you with your music. You niche down to people that check in and use Spotify, obviously. And then they click through, you have a gateway and they can click, oh, here's your Spotify, here's your Apple, or they could not click through. Again, raising your conversion rate of people that actually click for a reason versus, and I know I might be losing some people now, so I just want to pause for a second, versus what my approach would have been, which is just to advertise links, click on this song. They're saying, click through a link that says, do you like this type of artist? They'll click through and follow you, and then over time you'll have more followers and be more likely to play your songs. Here's my question. For those of y'all who is not up on this and not trying to promote your music, I apologize because everything I just said went over your head. But for us, speaking to the man, the great gifted individual, okay, giving information for artists. You already know this, brother. My question is, I've been dabbling in Napster for the couple weeks. I found out Napster paying like 10 times what Spotify doing right now. Disclaimer, whenever you watch this YouTube, this may not be the case. But as of right now, they paying like 10 times Napster. I go in, unlike some other channels, they're paying within 3 to 4 or 5 months as well, not taking a whole year to pay. So it's the highest paying streaming site right now, and they're playing relatively fast. So if I go into my Facebook Insights or whatever and I click Spotify, we know there's all kinds of Spotify audiences and people logging to Spotify with Facebook, so it knows to send messages to people on Spotify, right? But on Napster, nobody even knows. People think of Napster as a thing that shut down the industry and was giving free songs to people. And are they still alive, right? So how do I target those people on Napster? Because I want the Napster people. I'd rather have 100 Napster people playing my music and rocking with me on my alternative, conscious, hip hop, whatever. They don't gotta like pop music, versus having 1,000 Spotify listeners. Because these are people who are actually going to get the message. Hey, if you support artists, you really want to pay an artist directly, use this streaming platform. But how do we target those people?
Yo, so let me say this, man. This is a lot of angles to this game. You know, there's a lot of angles to this game, brother. You know, so there is the aspect of it where people look at things like a dollar for dollar thing where you say, well, what you call it, Napster pays more, but Napster has less users, and that's why they pay more. It's less money to split. You know what I'm saying? They have, or right, like you got because you're being paid a percentage of the revenue based on your percentage of the total number of streams. So the less artists there are, the more money there is to go around. You know what I'm saying? And the smaller the user base, the less artists they're streaming. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's the same thing with Tidal. Tidal pays more. All of the smaller streaming platforms pay more, not because they choose to, but because they don't have the user base. And as more people come and use it, everybody will ultimately make the same amount of money that they make on Spotify and stuff like that, man. You know, so it's kind of like it's not a strategy that you really want to implement because it's a ceiling to it. You know what I'm saying? It's a ceiling to it. You don't want to focus on Napster and stuff because it's kind of like a dead platform. And then on the flip side of that, there is also the aspect of social currency, right? Like outside of just what you make from a stream, there is the element of what these streams mean to everybody else, right? So it's like how you could have a platform like Reverb Nation and you could have 1 million streams on Reverb Nation and it's irrelevant. But if you got 1 million Spotify streams, you could get sponsorship deals, you could get festival placements, you could get all sorts of stuff because people care about people who got Spotify streams, you know? So it's like those things allow you to springboard into other things and build on top of it. So it's like if you have Napster and you got something popping with Napster, you might make some change there, right? Like you can make a few $100s there. But if you get something going on a platform like people care about, like a YouTube or a Spotify or something like that, then it's through the stratosphere. You know what I'm saying? Because those things matter to people. That's like how I got friends of mine that got like on the Spotify playlist for like lo-fi hip hop, like an editorial playlist, right? A friend of mine got on the editorial playlist for lo-fi hip hop. The publishing company, Song Trust, right? The publishing administrator, Song Trust, their people reached out to him ASAP. Soon as, because they got systems set up to trigger for any artist that gets added to those playlists. And the same way they got those systems set up is the same way a lot of institutions and festival people and stuff like that got it set up to be able to monitor those things, to be like, this is somebody we need to book. This is somebody we need to advertise with. This is somebody we need to hire, stuff like that. So it opens the door to a whole bunch of more things. So it's like Napster, and even in the sense of selling directly on your website, those are things that allow you to like be self-sufficient, but at the same time, it's not as much upside to it. So idealistically, you would do both. You know, you would sell directly from your website. You would, you know, if you can focus on a platform like people who use Napster, and you want to reach out to them, you can reach out to them and try to build something there. But you will also be doing things everywhere else to kind of open you up to everything that goes on everywhere else, man. Because ultimately, your goal is to make as much money as you can. You know what I'm saying? It's not to like cut yourself down and to just restrict yourself to specific platforms. You want big money. This streaming money is a drop in the bucket to what's out there. And that, first and foremost, I feel like all artists need to understand. This streaming revenue is a drop in the bucket. If you are dependent on streaming revenue, you are in a bad spot. You know what I'm saying? Because the reality of the situation is, if anybody that is getting significant streams, they're making way more money elsewhere. Because if you're getting millions of streams, then that means you're popular. And if you're popular, you're going to be able to make more money off a celebrity than you do the streams. You know
Can
what
I
I'm
throw a
saying?
SoundMinds on that?
So Gift, let me ask you a
money
question.
on streams, you're making us money elsewhere. If you got $1 million on Spotify, you probably got $1 million on Apple and so forth. You probably got other things going.
Not on Apple or anything like that. What I'm saying is, if somebody is getting millions of streams, right, then they're an established act. And if they're an established act, then that means they're probably making more money doing tours,
Shows, tours,
merch, they're
yes,
making more money
yes.
on endorsements, features, appearances, stuff like that. Like I remember Fabulous when my wife did a photo shoot in the Hamptons, right? She got hired to cover an event. Fabulous got like a few $1,000s to just like hang out there, just be there with a bottle of champagne, and that's all he had.
His walkthrough fee is crazy.
So it's like getting that celebrity status, right? And it's different levels of celebrity. Like you don't have to be like a Drake. Like Dead Prez has a level of celebrity, right? Where people would pay them to be at certain events because to a certain group of people will come because they're there. So it's like if you build celebrity within any network, any group of people, then that ultimately will last longer than streaming revenue and pay you more.
So Gift, that segues into another question. This is actually a question from my brother Rashaman. What is your personal favorite distribution platform? What do you feel works the best for artists?
Personally, man, I like TuneCore, right? Like I work with artists, and I always, if you're making money, I recommend TuneCore, right? If your music is like kind of like struggling a bit, then TuneCore is not going to be the best decision because it's expensive. You know what I'm saying? But if you are in a better position and you want the best, then they're the best. And CD Baby is on par with them. They're equal to them. But the thing that separates them is the fact that CD Baby takes 9% of what you make and TuneCore gives you 100% of what you make. And what kind of separates them is that it's almost like hedging. If you don't make any money, CD Baby is the better choice because then it's 9% is zero, right? So you don't end up paying anything. But on the flip side, if you make money and the more money you make, the more punitive that 9% becomes. So if you make $10,000, and that's 9% of $10,000 for digital distribution, you know what I'm saying? And with TuneCore, it's like $50 for an album or $9 for a single. And no matter how much money you make, you're only paying $50 or $9. So if you make $1 million, it's still $50 or $9. It's never going to be more than that. So that's why I favor something like TuneCore rather than CD Baby. If you're professional and you're making money, it's going to make more sense for you. And then they give advances. So it's like if you are making money, then you can get upfront cash to kind of invest and, do things and build effectively. Say, okay, cool. Well, I want to do a marketing and promotion campaign and I need an extra $5,000. You can go and apply to get that extra $5,000 and they pay it, you paying it back through sales. They're not like taking it from your wages. They're not garnishing your wages or anything like that. It don't impact your credit history or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? So I like that platform for those particular reasons, and there's all these other platforms out there that artists like to mess with and dibble and dabble with. But personally, I kind of feel like those are for like hobbyists. You know what I'm saying? Like the distro kids and all of that other stuff is for hobbyists. It's for people who are kind of like, they don't know and they feel real insecure about their music being successful. So it's more like, all right, this is only $20. So at the end of the day, if the music isn't successful, they can say, well, all I spent was $20, right? All I spent was $20. It ain't work out, but I didn't lose much, right? So that's what they kind of have that mentality. Either that or it's a lottery system where they kind of feel like, hey, just throw mad songs out and one of them got to hit the number. You know what I'm saying? And they're playing that game. So when they're playing that game and they're not making any money from each individual release, then it don't make sense to do a TuneCore or a CD Baby or anything like that where you got to pay each release because each release is not carrying its own weight. So if you are releasing like 20 songs, 30 songs or something like that, and none of them are making any money, then yeah, those platforms aren't going to make sense for you, you know? So something like, but even in that sense, I would still not use something like
so while you on that, let me just
like Land or Muse.
Okay, so let me tip it into what you're saying again, just checking in with people. So if I'm listening to this and I go, okay, so TuneCore is for people who are more serious because they put more money on it, and something like DistroKid is for people that's less serious and it's like, okay, I don't have nothing to lose, I'm less invested in it. But for many of those artists, that's all they know, right? It's like if someone goes to the store and goes, okay, I'm gonna get the expensive thing because I know if I get the expensive thing, that's better. It's higher quality. What is it actually? If they're not clout chasing or trying to be like the Joneses, what are the type of features? And not just TuneCore and DistroKid, but what are the type of features that a distributor in this digital age can give to artists that might not be provided for them on a lower paying system? Because I don't want to exalt or beat up on anyone in particular, but we can too. You know, it's SoundMinds, we keep it real. But like, what is the different features that one distributor might not really, you might be missing out on if you go with a cheaper one, where you will actually get these features and you just think, oh, I thought I was just paying to get on Apple and Spotify. I didn't know there's these other features. What should they be looking for?
I mean, the first and foremost, you want a distributor to be good at the main thing they're supposed to do, and that's distribute your music. You know, so how many stores are they getting you into? How many territories? You know, what platforms? Because there are things that are classified as stores that aren't technically stores. Like you got certain I guess companies that do things like get your music into retail stores and restaurants and stuff like that. And those aren't like Spotify or Apple Music. So platforms like DistroKid don't distribute there because it's not a Spotify or Apple. It's not technically a store. But other platforms like TuneCore and them get you into that. It's other things like what's the name of it? Is it Media something, man? I forget the name of it, right? But it's a certain
Media.net?
No, not Media.net. It's not NetEase. It's another. It's I forget the name of them. But effectively, no, they got bought by Peloton, the exercise bike company. They got bought for them, and Peloton uses them to source their music for the workouts, right? So TuneCore distributes to them, CD Baby distributes to them, DistroKid and a lot of those cheaper distributors don't. So your music isn't available in those end outlets, and you don't get paid like how you get paid for a stream or a sale from those outlets. You get paid through Sound Exchange, and you get like publishing royalties for that stuff, you know. So a lot of that you won't see in your royalty report. You'll see it in your ASCAP report, or you'll see it in your Sound Exchange report because it's a different licensing. But a lot of times it's more money. So it's like effectively, man, you know, you want your music in as many places as possible. So if somebody has got a limited amount of stores, then that's not something that you want to use. You know, you want to use something that's going to get you into more places, unless you aren't marketing your music anywhere but like the US, and you are focusing on particular platforms, which some artists be doing. Really, most artists do. So all most artists care about is Spotify and Apple Music. So it's like for them, anything will do. Anything that get them into Spotify and Apple Music will do, because they're not looking at anything else. They're not looking at something like what's the Russian website? Forget the name of it, man. But yeah, like they got a Russian, like Russia's former
DK?
Huh?
I toured in Russia and everybody put me onto VK. VK is like the big media platform out there.
Yeah, but they got it's another one. It's like a search engine. It's like their form of Google. But a lot of distributors don't get you into that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, if you are advertising, like when I advertise for people, I target the world. Like I isolate. So I have one campaign targeted to the US, and then I have another campaign segmented by effectively. Sometimes it's like I would basically bulk certain areas. Like Europe, you would have like Sweden and all of those countries, and then you would have like a lot of the countries like New Zealand and Australia and stuff like that in another campaign group, and then you would have countries like Brazil and Mexico and stuff like that in another group. Now, you know, Mexico's in North America, but if you put Mexico in a group with America, they're going to cannibalize your activity. So you would segment that, right? And have Mexico with Brazil and things of that nature. But you segment it and you target everybody because you don't know where you're going to strike gold. You don't know where your fans are, you know? So it's like a lot of times.
Just so people don't know, when Gift's saying cannibalize, I believe he's saying like you'll get a lot of people clicking on that, but not actually going through, or you're not actually getting revenue, right?
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it cannibalize it in the sense that if you want for your ad to be seen in America, America is more expensive to market to. Mexico is cheaper. So if you put Mexico and the United States in an ad group, all of the traffic is going to go to Mexico.
Gonna go to Mexico, right?
So people are going to be responding cheaper. So you got to eliminate Mexico, and that's why the U.S. got to have its own ad group.
Oh, so that's not actually because of people clicking. That's because the algorithm is actually sending it to them more because they're the cheaper conversion.
Because it's
cheaper. Okay, so I got the concept, but I didn't know the mechanism. Thank you.
Yeah, it's cheaper, so that's why that happens. But yeah, when you advertising, you want to target all those different areas to see who's going to respond to your music. And a lot of times it ain't the US, because for the most part, man, US, they be jock riding, man. It's like, yo, if everybody likes something, then they like it. And if people like something, a lot of times especially with rap, man, you know, with R&B, women and stuff like that, they tend to be more expressive and things of that nature, man. So if a girl comes out with an R&B song, R&B artist that I've advertised for, they put out with a song, other girls is like, oh girl, you killing it, right? And they're super supportive. And dudes, you know, they just are trying to get a look, right? So they like, oh my, I love you, oh, you so beautiful, oh, you know. So they are more likely to speak. But with rap, a lot of times it's more negative, you know, like the people who like it don't say anything, and only the people who have an issue say something, right? They'll be, oh, homie, you trash, right? And all the other people who are trying to be comedians and stuff like that want to chime in and start saying stuff too, right? So that kind of be like the American market, right? The American market is almost like you got to be super dominant. Like you got to be so far and above everybody else where people can't deny you, right? Where it's just like, yo, if I say anything negative about this dude, I just look like a pure hater because there isn't really anything to be said about him. And if the music isn't like ironclad like that, you'll still get hate, no doubt, because, you know, it's rap, and rap is like a blood sport. You know, you still get hate, but not as much. And there will be other people that will call it out if people do hate. If somebody says, yo, this is whack, people are like, yo, you bugging. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got some level of protection there. But by and large, a lot of the different markets, they're more friendly, they're more affectionate, they're more they feel they have like a more not so much a deeper connection, but just more appreciative of music than people are in the US at this point in time, you know. So it's like in particular Brazil, man, you know, Brazil, you market out there, and if they love your music, man, they love you, you know. And they'll be oh my God, oh, this is amazing. You know what I'm saying? If they comment and you comment back, they treat you like a superstar, like, oh, I can't believe he commented back to me.
Yeah. That's, you know, and it's crazy, man, because they I was watching a documentary, man, Sugar Man, you know what I mean, where Nas got his sample from. And that's one of the things, like out of the country, man, you start noticing that you're a legend out there. You know what I mean? This dude in the United States was just like a regular, yo, look at him, he's a bum. You know what I mean? But out there, he became a legend. You know what I'm saying? So for the interest of time, we got a real quick questions, man. Gift, I ain't gonna lie to you, brother. I kind of feel like you an insider, man. Kind of feel like you know what I mean? Like you be in these meetings. Fam, if you could explain to me, I don't know if you know or not, man, what's going on with Google Play and YouTube now? Because I noticed that, you know, yeah, talk to me.
Nah, Google Play is Google is killing off Google Play. It's dying if it's not dead already. You know, like they decided to kill it off and to roll it into YouTube Music. You know, so I mean, because you got different parts of Google Play. You got Google Play, the music thing, but then you got Google Play, which is like the Play Store where you go to download apps and stuff like that. Now, the music aspect, they're killing that off because they want everybody to use YouTube Music. So that's no longer going to be there. That's going to be dead. And everybody who has YouTube Google Play is going to be moved over to YouTube Music, you know.
So, and for the most part, with that being said, like anything purchased on Google Play, now you would have to, is that now they're streaming it where you need to purchase it through YouTube Music, or is it just you could only play it through that?
If you bought something through Google Play, you would probably have it on your computer or your device, right? Because YouTube Music is a streaming platform and they don't like allow you to like basically connect your own personal library to YouTube Music. So that's dead, right? So you will have access to whatever's on YouTube Music. You know, whatever you bought from Google Play, you better have stored in a private folder somewhere because, you know, you ain't going to be able to download that stuff off of Google Play, man. That's going to be gone, you know?
That's crazy, man. It's and it's funny to see that, man. And I asked you that, brother. I got to be honest with you, man. I salute you for being on top of it that hard. You know what I mean? Because honestly, I'm asking. That was a very selfish question. You know what I mean? Because I had some music that I bought from Google Play. I went to hear, you know, the plugs I met, the Benny the Butcher album, and I'm like, yo, what you mean I can't listen to my music on my phone? You know what I'm saying? So, and for you to be on top of it that quick, salute to you, brother. Yo, I gotta say, so a couple more questions, man, real quick, man, because you know, we don't want to hold you, you know what I mean? And then your time is honestly speaking, I would love to have a part 2 to this. You know what I'm saying? But more so, I want people to, because I'll be real with you.
Hit us in the comments if you want part 2, and we gotta have because Rock Diamond didn't get. We need y'all to submit questions. We need y'all. I know y'all got questions. I didn't hear a lot of different questions from y'all in the chat. And Rashaman's the one who honestly posts up the comments, so we didn't know how to post the comments on the screen. I'll super duper apologize for y'all. We see your comments on our side, but we don't know how to post them like that. So if you want a gift back, go crazy. Hit us with the comments. Hit him on his IG. Pay Us No Mind and real Pay Us No Mind. I don't know if Pay Us No Mind is a fake.
Nah, it's just at Pay Us No Mind, man. It's just at Pay Us No Mind. You know?
So hit Pay Us No Mind. Let them know that you rock with it. You follow from SoundMinds and you want him back.
Yeah. So real quick. So with that being said, Giff, I gotta be real with you. Pardon me if you hear that noise, man. My dog is crying. He's missing me right now. This is straight hood ghetto, like, you know what I mean? We out here that we still got the family movement going. With that being said, man, have you ever thought about, like, I gotta be real with you, brother. Like, you are, with all the intents and purposes of the word, man, you're a treasure. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's times that I'm looking, and before you even answered. Well, before I even asked the question, but the other thing I want to say that I love about you, man, is that you allow people watching your lives on YouTube, you allow questions and you answer all the questions, man. And that's kind of like, in this day and age, man, when everybody kind of got my nose is in the air because I hit a certain type of stature or I know a certain type of knowledge, so I don't have to mention your names. That's another thing you do. You mention people's names. Like, there was one time, man, I was watching, and I ain't even, you know, you was like, yo, shout out to Light Skin. I was like, oh, okay, dope. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that you show that type of love, man, is genuine. So I want to shout you out for that. But the question that I have for you, man, with the information
they
that
going crazy in the chat, like,
oh, okay,
not to cut you, they going crazy. Matt said part 2. Siobhan said part 2. Ace King 229 said part 2. Lucy LeBron said part 2 for sure. And get King Rashawn on. They going crazy. They want a part 2.
There you go. Giff, I gotta ask you, brother, with this information that you have, I don't know if this is something that you thought about, but you ever won thought about being a consultant, and two, having this, and I know that you do it for the love, but in a sense, having sort of like a your own joint where people are paying to get this type of information, where you can consult them, but as well as serve as a mentor for the information that you have. Because truth is, there's a lot of stuff that you spit just in this, you know, the hour and 45 minutes, the hour and 49 minutes that we're about to go into, that is lifesavers for a lot of people. You know what I mean? Especially people that are starting off like, yo, I just want to make music. That's always been my thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never got into the business side, and that a detriment to me, because that means a lot of stuff that I could have been paid for in the past, I just kind of let it on some, I love getting my voice out there. I just want my message heard. You know what I'm saying? So have you ever thought about becoming like a consultant, man, and starting your own thing where PayUsNoMind is like on some real, like, yo, you want to get this information, man, low monthly payment, you know what I mean? Just to kind of help you out as well, man, because payment for knowledge is something that should always be appreciated. You know what I'm saying? So you thought about something like that, brother?
Yeah, I got stuff like that, man. I you know, people, you know, can book consultations. I got like a membership, you know, set up, man. You know, learn.payusnomind.info. You know what I'm saying? And just providing tools for people, and, you know, allowing people to, you know, communicate with me, and they basically just get like one-on-one support, you know, help, guidance, man. I don't like, again, man, I'm not somebody who tries to pull people towards something that they don't want to come to. So I don't like go crazy about pushing stuff and being like, and to be honest, man, there's a lot of people I'd rather not deal with, you know, so I don't want like just a whole bunch of people bombarding me with stuff, man, because, you know, it's a lot of nuts out there, man. You know what I'm saying? People coming to you with like crazy stuff, man. So, you know, part of me is like, damn, I need to be pushing this stuff more. And the other part is like, do you really want to be doing what you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'll be kind of like apprehensive about it a bit, but it's there. You know, people who reach out to me and want to look for it, you know, it's there, right? You got PayUsNoMind.info, where I got all of the books and everything. And then you got learn.payusnomind.info, where there's like the courses and the memberships and stuff like that. And anything in between that, people can hit me up on Instagram about, man.
Dope. And you know what you saying that, man, I got to be honest with you, in my years of experience, life within itself, man, some of the greatest are the most humblest. You know what I'm saying? And those who feel like they always got to make the noise to kind of get the attention, those are the ones that are really trash. You know what I mean? And what you saying that, like, it's crazy that the capsule of information that you are, especially for something that a lot of people are doing, and doing it wrongfully, probably more than likely, for you to say that, you know, yeah, there's times I feel like pushing this, but then there's times like I'm like, nah, I'm doing what I do. I love what I do, and those who come and understand it will appreciate it better. You know what I'm saying? So, shout out to you for that, brother. Any advice that you want to? Yeah, go ahead.
I got a last question, and it really is y'all Light knows my whole style. What I try to do is every question builds on everything that's been building up. It's almost like a flying trapeze, damn, like seesaw, like everything build up to flip back to the other thing, flip back to the other thing. So I'm trying to put all of this together, right? Napster, Bandcamp, right? TuneCore, DistroKid. These are like the basic seesaws that I think that the lowest underground artists that were just getting into what we talking about can understand, right? So one of the things that we got is that look at DistroKid and TuneCore. One might put you in a lot more places. One might be like, okay, you can get into it and see how distribution works, perhaps something like that, right? Bandcamp, like you said, if you're an artist that connects with people, why aren't you on Bandcamp, stuff like that? But then you also said, well, aside from being outside of Napster and stuff on something like Bandcamp, you might not want to be on some other platforms where it might be a dead platform because nobody's there, and that's why the cost per stream is the pay per stream is so high, right? So my question is, if you wanted to get through to Bandcamp or Napster, right? These platforms that everybody isn't saying this is how you advertise to Spotify, basically Spotify and Apple. Everything's around get your ads here, type in Spotify listeners in America versus Mexico, do your Mexico ad set here, do your America ad set here, make sure they don't get, you know, mixed up. how do you target fans, right, through these things like Facebook and Instagram, again, when there's no platform for them because they are seen as smaller or niche, but
All
that
right, all
might be
right.
where your
I got
fans
you.
are. You feel
I
what I'm
got you. I
saying?
got you.
That might
I
be
got.
where your weirdo nerd, whatever your little niches, that's your thing. But there's no lane because nobody's a weird nerd niche like you are. So this for
Listen,
all y'all out there. I
listen,
want to get to speak to y'all.
listen. So this is what you do, right? If you are targeting fans of a certain style of music on a platform that isn't like big in regards of modern day usage, a lot of those platforms still have a lot of users still, right? So they have a lot of Facebook page likes. So you can target Napster, you can target any of these streaming platforms, right? So what you would do with a Facebook ad is conditional targeting, right? Where you say, I want people who are Napster users, but also are hip hop fans or are also fans of these particular artists. And that would show your ad to people who use Napster, but also people who are fans of a particular genre that use Napster, or people who use SoundCloud or whatever, but are also particular fans of people. Because if you just target the platform itself, you know, you might get rock fans, you might get people who are into all sorts of stuff and not experience a great deal of success. But if you make it conditional, you know, then you're more likely to find your audience on those platforms.
So these ad sites really aren't good for something that doesn't already have, like assuming condition, right? We know Napster, I'm gonna stop talking about Napster because we know they're big enough to have that. But let's say there's like Twitch is new in terms of hip hop, or let's say just SoundMinds, right? Let's
Twitch
say
is big.
SoundMinds has a venue. How is there any point to even advertising to a platform that doesn't have that critical mass? Like for SoundMinds, right? We just want people who would come to our podcast, let's say, right? They don't need to be Napster users. If there's a new venue, from what I'm understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, Facebook, Instagram, these advertisements are really geared to people's areas. So if you don't have a big enough swimming pool, this kind of marketing thing doesn't even make sense. You really got to go to the bigger pools and bring people from those.
Yeah. You kind of gotta,
Okay.
you gotta go broad and drill down, right? On a platform like Facebook. If you want a micro target, then you gotta use a platform like Twitter. Twitter allows you to micro target because you can target anybody's handle, right? You can target the fans of anybody, whoever follows any account, right? No matter whether they big or small. YouTube too. You know, you can target any YouTube, any collection of YouTube channels or any keyword on YouTube. So if you are micro targeting, you know, AdWords and AdWords and Twitter would probably be pardon me, probably be better platforms for you to advertise on if you micro targeting, you know.
Yo, Giff is giving you gems right now. If you're not getting hit in the head like this, don't, you shouldn't even be watching this. Like, if you're not getting the gems that's being dropped on you right now, like, you're not even involved in what we're involved in. Thank you, bro.
It's all good, man.
Gift, real quick. Um, so I want to ask you a yes or no question, and then I want to give you the opportunity. I don't know if you ever done this before, man, but we do something for all artists. Um, for the most part, man, where we let them spit their favorite or their best 16. I don't know if you want to do that. You know what I mean? I know you said you was a former, you're inactive, you know what I'm saying? But so my question though, before that, if you do choose to, if you take the challenge, my question is yes or no, does a website currently help or hurt an artist? Does it help an artist? Or SoundMinds, would a SoundMinds website help SoundMinds with all the innuendos and everything that, you know what I mean, the intricacies in which we're a part of? So it's a question that we've been going back and forth on.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to a website, bro, it comes down to, it's not just the website, it's what you do with it, right? So it's like, if you are going to be doing content on a website, like you're going to have a blog, right? And you're going to be using the blog to do like search engine optimization, where you're talking about hot topics that bring traffic to the website through the blog. then a website becomes a valuable thing. Or if you're doing e-commerce where you're selling stuff, then you need a website because you need places for people to transact, you know. But if you're not doing e-commerce and you're not going to commit yourself to content like that, where you're going to be writing blog posts and stuff, then a website is kind of irrelevant. You know, people look for you, they go to Twitter, they go to Instagram, you know, they go to YouTube, stuff like that, and they get your content in those places. You know, a website is for either e-commerce or for you to give people a different place to consume content that you control. Because that's the thing, right? YouTube is its own thing, and you have an audience on YouTube that you don't have access to outside of YouTube. Facebook, you have an audience on Facebook and Twitter and stuff that you don't have access to outside of that. And pixels from all of those places. You can patch in Google Analytics pixels. You can patch in Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of this stuff where you have access to your audience no matter where they are, right? So that's the value of it. But you have to commit yourself to it and have like a content schedule and stuff like that. So if you don't commit yourself to it, then, you know, it don't make sense, you know. So that's the big thing with a website, man. It's the content and it's merchandise. If you're not selling nothing and you're not blogging, then, you know, it's just a thing to do. You know, it's not going to be beneficial to you, really. It's just there.
I respect that.
But that's dope. Like the tools you mentioned, a lot of people don't think. Like for instance, right now, a lot of people come here because it's SoundMindsHipHop.com. They've never seen a SoundMinds website, but they're here because with the website tools we have for the domain and for the host, we are allowed to direct this website here. If we get into, I think from what you're saying, the next thing we should probably get into is stuff like Google Pixel and stuff like that, where it's not necessarily people going to the website, but it's the tools we have as website owners that help us direct traffic around what we want to do.
Yeah, it's the tools that you have to not just, you know, it's the tools that you have to have the direct line to your audience, one, and also to be able to reach them and build, right? So it's like with platforms like Facebook, that allow you to do things like create similar audiences based off of a collection of people that you already have in place. So anybody that goes to your website is going to be a much more committed fan than somebody that just simply engages with you when you are where they are, right? So it's like all of us, you know, we got people that we bump into every now and again. So it's like if you are at the pizzeria and they happen to be there, it's like, oh, hey, what's up, man? You know, you give them pound and all of that other stuff, but it's like, you don't go to their house. They don't come to your house. You know, if somebody is like, so-and-so is over here, you ain't going to go there because they there, right? It's like, well, if you at a party and I'm at a party, then cool. But I ain't coming to a party because you're at the party, you know? So it's like, you want people who come to the party because you're at the party. And the people who go to your website are the people who will come to a party because you are at the party. So if you have a pixel installed on your website and you can create a similar audience from those people, then you are more likely to be able to create an ad group containing people who are most likely to respond to your ad more than any other group. So that's where, you know, your own website and the pixel on your own website carries tremendous value.
Man, brother, you just dropping diamonds out here, man. So with that being said, brother, are you interested in spitting your favorite or your hottest 16, man? If not, no pressure. Yo, it's just because, yeah.
Yeah, I'm so out of practice, son. I can't even remember my rhymes, man.
It happens, man. It happens. It happens. It happens. All right.
Like,
they don't want to put you on the spot,
wait,
but you know.
What's your phrase that you tell artists? What's your not 16 of them, but give us 4 bars that you tell artists that they're badly mistaken. By the way, let me step back and just say, if you look at the drip, right? If you look at the way PayUsNoMind got the purple background, then he got the red and blue that makes purple, then he got the PayUsNoMind branded. You see what I'm talking about? Like, he's living and showing improvement even when he's not talking. He knows these principles he's talking about for his brand and marketing. So let's all salute this.
Right? SoundMinds to that. SoundMinds to that.
The thing it reminds us is, like, we always talk about, like, feel good about yourself, promote yourself as you promote others. If you just promoting other people, then you end up bitter, right? It's like we said, those people, they give you information, but they're not really giving you all the information because you winning is not them winning, And you've been a great example of someone that's just doing it. Like we see you, your website, your YouTube, your branding, your Instagram. I still don't know why you got 2 IGs. You got to tell us when you come back. We're gonna have a second episode. We're gonna get to that on a second episode. We want to lock you down for the second episode. We got to find out why there's 2 IGs. But for real, give us 4 bars that you would just drop to artists, like in terms of this industry, understanding things that people overlook. What's your 4 bars of just information, mentorship that people take for granted, or that people just need to be reminded, like brushing your teeth? Sometimes it's things you already know, but it's just good to see them anyway. You know what I mean?
Yo, all I got is just a few words of wisdom, right? And that is, yesterday is gone forever, and tomorrow never really comes. You know, do not sit on your hands with the things that you want to do. You know, make your move, you know, and be faithful. And the fact that, you know, you put the work in and that your stuff is quality, because a lot of times people, you know, sit on their hands, man, and they feel like they live in fear effectively, you know, like, is this the right time? Is it, am I going to lose my money if I invest in my music? Is it, you know, and it's like, yo, man, you got to dive in, you know, and whatever happens, happens. And you pick yourself up if you fall down and you keep going. That's the main thing. Keep going. I mean, the things that sustain me in life, and even with this, is the fact that it's like, yo, I just keep plowing through walls, bro. Like, I don't stop. You know what I'm saying? Like when I get confronted with a problem, some people say, hey, you should take a break, step away from it. And that's just not my way. I'll just keep until the wall comes down, you know, because I just can't sleep and I can't rest until the wall comes down. And that is the way you kind of got to be with what it is that you want to do. You got to have like a certain level of tunnel vision where you don't see nothing else but what it is that you want to do, because other things will distract you and pull you away, you know? So it's like, if you look at, even in the sense of things like with some people that you see celebrity, like you look at somebody like what's the Keke Palmer, right? Her father. They say, hey, this dude packed his family up into a car, drive them to California and live in the car, because they said, hey, baby, you a star and we betting on you, right? And we're going to take all of this now. At the same time, you know, his wife's family and maybe his own family was ready to call like child protective services on him. Like, you got these babies living out a car. You crazy? How could you have them living like this? And now it's a success story. And they all like, oh, he had them living out a car. He took chances, right? But it's like back then, they was probably ready to call the cops on him, you know? But it's like, you got to see your vision and you got to be committed to it. And you got to know what's on the end of that other end of that tunnel for yourself. And you got to focus on that. And you got to be willing to put everything into that. And that's how you're going to get where you're trying to go. You know, you're not going to get there if you're hedging and you are expecting other people to get you there, because other people don't care. You know what I'm saying? If you, especially when you're grown, when you a teenager, you 14, 15, people might carry the bag for you because it's like, he's a kid, he got potential, right? And everybody do that because you got potential. But when you grown, you hit 21, 25, people are like, yo, man, get a job and do it yourself, right? People know you've been rapping for a while. Dogs, either they think that it ain't gonna happen for you, and if they believe it do, they're waiting for you to do it on your own. So you gotta have a plan, know what you want to do, stick to it, make it happen. If you gotta work 2 jobs, if you gotta do side hustles, whatever it is, you save up your money, you stack, you educate yourself on the things to put your money into, and you make your move and you try to build it, right? And you build it like a business. Think like you building a small business with your music. Don't think like you just being an artist and that you're just putting out music. You got to think like a small business and take care of it like in that capacity, man. You know, your taxes, your paperwork, all of that stuff, keep track, because at the end of the day, it's going to bite you in the ass down the line when you got to do legitimate things and people want paperwork and they want documentations of your business and your income and stuff like that. So you want to take care of all of that, man. You know, get your QuickBooks going, right? All of that stuff, man. Start documenting your expenses and all of that, man. You know, make sure you got that. So that's
You
the
know,
last thing that I got to say, man.
you know what I love about that, man? It's funny that it aligns with the live promoting you coming on, where I was just talking about commitment. You know what I mean? And people don't put 1,000% into something, but then expect a 1,000% outcome. You know what I'm saying? And it's just kind of like when you don't, and it goes with individual things, it goes with crew things, it goes with, like, if you're not putting, and even raising a child, man. when you're not putting 1,000% of yourself into your children end up losing out. You know what I'm saying? So as is all things are, you know, the symbolism of everything being a child, everything that you put, whatever you create is your child. You need to put 1,000% into it. You know what I'm saying? And what you're saying is confirming exactly what I feel at all times. Like a relationship, no matter what it is, if you're not giving 1,000%, man, stop doing it. You know what I mean? Pull yourself out the ranks and just be out. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, Gift, my brother, Sunday, 7 o'clock, you know what I mean? November 1st, and you've been with us for 2 hours, brother. Thank you for everything that you, thank you for your presence. You will definitely get more people hitting you up on, especially IG, because I know a lot of people who sat here and heard some things was like, yo, hold on. I got to check with him on this, and I got to check on that. So, need to say, Pay Us No Mind on YouTube. Go check this brother out. Pay Us No Mind on IG. But if you really want them gems and you want to eat right, you get them diamonds in your plate, Pay Us No Mind, that YouTube channel. You definitely got to subscribe, like, you know what I mean? Share that with others that don't necessarily know. Brother, thank you for being the person that you are, man, and thank you for the genuinity that you provide, man.
Definitely, man. Appreciate you, brothers, man. Y'all have a good night, man.
You too. Shout out to
Yo,
you.
you in the constellation. SoundMinds, we got another bright star in the
And
constellation.
whatever you need from
Go
us, we
follow
here.
him on everything like
All right,
that.
brother. I got you, man.
Follow him on
I'm out.
everything. And you know, he's here for us. Rashaman, love you. Thank you for being here through this whole thing. Everybody in the comments going crazy. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for keeping the positive energy. Let's not rush ahead. Mercury retrograde got a few more days ahead of us. Expect things to be slow. Take this time to reflect, relax. Don't take it personal, man. We're going through it together. Let's get through
With
it.
that being said, you know, we are here. If you are supporting us, then by all means, we are here for you as well. We likewise appreciate your support. The more support that you can provide in the sense of sharing to more friends and so on and so forth. If you want to do that, like, subscribe, tell people to go to the YouTube channel, SoundMinds Hip Hop, the Facebook page, SoundMinds Podcast, the IG page. You know what I'm saying? These are things we're trying to provide the best that we can for everybody. So you see every guest that we bring on is somebody that you should be listening to for whatever it is that they're speaking about. As I always say, I am your man, light skin. LITESKIN stands for living it through every situation known in nature. Peace, positive energy always causes elevation. Hold on to your loved ones, y'all. If anything, at all times, right now is the best time to understand that love and the genuinity and that pureness of that construct of whatever that relationship is. Put respect to that, man. We are losing way too many. So once again, Miss Unique Merit, never met you, but I definitely feel your energy. But Sean, we're here, brother. SoundMinds, and whatever you ever need, you already know, man. And with that being said, man,
Like
whether it be tonight,
what's
yeah,
your track of the week so people could go off this stream and listen to something that you spit on with your same energy? What's one of your tracks that you could recommend to them?
or one of my tracks. You know what? For the most part, I'm gonna go with and I said it before, man, but I spit. Everything I do is for others. Everything I do is for all of us. You know what I'm saying? And especially for my people. No excluded of nobody else. But I spit for mine, y'all. And if we not doing that, if you ain't doing that, you just wasting time, honestly. So with that being said,
that's the track where he says he's basically spitting for people who for various reasons might not be able to talk for themselves right now. And my track of the week dropping November 3rd is Mad Men, and it's basically about how it's okay to go through ups and downs in life, and don't be so quick to find easy solutions, whether it be drugs, sex, violence, or whatever it is. When you're going crazy, you know, check in, SoundMinds, check in with your people before you go looking for a fast solution. It's part of human nature to have crazy moments and sad moments. But that's how these people get you. And Gift spoke about that a lot on this episode too. Like, community is important. People that ain't just trying to profit off of you. on your low points, because we all got high points and low points. So I Spit and Madman, and of course Rashaman is with us on You Me We are artists, we are podcasters. Man, love y'all. Let's continue to win.
Real quick, also,
Mhm.
last week's episode, in which we did not do, is going to be
Right.
on November 15th. So the second episode of season 3 will actually be on the 15th. We got to talk about whether we're going to expand the season to another week. But either way, needless to say, we're going to have the phenomenal Dr. Sodi Janal and the phenomenal instructor, teacher, coach, Daniel B. Norte II. Next week, we are having an incredible, talented artists that are coming on, females, women, straight spitters, and we're going to talk about the industry and their art, but as well as the empowerment that young ladies looking at our women who are spitters and artists to see that there is more than just the selling of the body and you know what I mean? And this in no way is to demonize anybody, any woman or nobody like that, but this is just more so to pay homage, to pay respect. So look out for the promotion for that.
You got options. You can do it many different ways.
So we have Rain Jane coming on next week, right? And Miranda Wrights. Look out for the promotion, y'all. I can't wait for that. With all that being said, SoundMinds, y'all. Peace to y'all. Have a good night. Enjoy your Sunday.
SoundMinds.
SoundMinds.